Well, doesn't this highlight the tension that the Muslim community is under in Britain? The fact that on the one hand we have to ensure the security of this country, and it was the father in the case of this young man who went to the authorities, and the family and the community have been praised for doing so. Yet the issue of how can people still give, whether it's their own time themselves or in terms of money, to areas where there are these conflicts going on. So what would be your answer to that, Salim, from the Muslim Council in Wales?
Well, I can say one thing, that nobody's blaming all the Somali youth or the Pakistani youth in the circumstances here. At this very moment in time, there's a delegation of Somali businessmen and people who have gone to Somalia to help. There are partnerships between the Somalis in Wales and the Somali in Somalia who are working on health, who are working on education, and who are working on training. So this supporting each other is, I think, if I'm not wrong, among the whole of UK, after Somalia, the biggest number of Somalis are in Wales. And that is why, and it's a link over 100 years. So the Somali community in Wales is well engrossed within the community, and they are making a tremendous effort to support. Now, these one-off cases, which is, we have to accept that these cases happen. If they wanted to go and help, we have got students going to Somalia from Wales. As I said, there's a delegation at the moment of businessmen and educationists who have gone there, the fire, the ambulance, the health. All these people are here to help with the Somali community in Wales, and they've got contact and partnership in Somalia to help each other. But these incidents which happens nowadays, and as Dr. Banna said very truly, yes, people have doubts, and immediately if you are traveling to Pakistan or Gaza or somewhere, you're treated as a different person. But we have to accept our responsibility as citizens of this country. And what happened here, it wasn't, nobody mentioned Al-Shabaab or anything over here, to be honest. It was the concerns of the parents which took them to the authority. It wasn't anybody, the authority even didn't knew about it. But when the parents realized that they have taken their passports, they approached the authority. And I think that was the sensible thing for the parents to do it. If my son disappears with his passport, not knowing where he has gone, I would have approached the authorities, not worrying whether because none of the parents thought that they have, where they have gone, God knows. But I think this is just prudent that we, as a responsible citizens, have also a duty to deal with these situations in a way that we can. And I'm very pleased. The families are very pleased that they were not charged. If they would have charged, there wouldn't have been any evidence of them, and nobody's saying that they were going to be a terrorist or anything. Otherwise, they would have been charged. But we have to be very cautious about these things and work accordingly. That's how I feel about it.
So do you think it's a sign of the times that people now have to be grateful for not being charged, because it is now the other way around, that people are guilty to proven? Or is this indeed the good news story that the Muslim community does take responsibility where there are concerns? People are not brushing it under the carpet, because this is something we are accused of, that where there are issues, we are loud when it comes to saying, well, there's injustice going on there. Exactly. But when it's from within the community, and there are extremist organisations, there are people who promote violence, and they have to be stopped by the community as well as the authorities.
And unless you prove guilty, you're always guilty. When the reason we hear this story is not begun yesterday. We have seen many occasions like these stories, and the Muslim community are always silent. And that is what we need to stand up and say, look, if there is a problem in the Muslim countries, we as a Muslim community, we have to go there and help our brothers, even if they are fighting. Because in the Quran, Allah says, وَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخْوَيْكُمْ. That is the duty of the Muslims. If two cities are fighting each other, the Muslims must go there and help and stop that fighting. That is the one ayah of the Quran, and is wajib and is duty to every single Muslim, either in Pakistan or in Somalia or Iraq or even in Libya. People have to go there. The Muslims they band their hands back. Only everything has to work with the West.
Some people would twist that concept of ummah, which the way you describe it is simply being able to relate to and help people wherever they are in the world, to making it a conflict of citizenship, as if by doing that, you are somehow betraying the country where you're staying, in this case, in the UK. Do you think there's that conflict, or do you think that's a false?
I think that is a false perception. And I believe as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us, we should be honor all mankind's and respect to one another. And if we see conflicts, even Israel and Palestine, the Muslims has to involve and create peaceful between Israel and Palestine, and create these people to live in peace. If the international community fail, the Muslims themselves, from Saudi Arabia, Arab world, they are rich. And they're rich, they don't show everything they left into the international community, which is only the West and America and the Europeans. Look what the Egypt did for the past week. We can see over 1,000 of Palestinians have been released, and Shalil have been saved his life. And that's what we need. The Muslims has to do that. If the Egypt didn't do that, the conflict will continue and many people will suffer. The Muslims has to stand and help their people without fear. I have rights myself to go in Somalia and to find out what's happening in Somalia, because Somalia have no proper government that protects the sovereignty of Somalia and protects its citizens. Somalia has been isolated for the past 20 years. So the Somali educated young men live in the Western world. They have a feeling as the other nations has. So they have to go there and get involved in the political level and help with their society. But if they're traveling to go to Kenya and isolate, I think that is discrimination against the Somalis. And it's completely, this is perception and anti-Somali youth.
I think from my experience, last year I wanted to create a humanitarian space with the humanitarian forum in Somalia. Before going there to Somalia, this is an advice, I contacted the British Foreign Office, tell them I am going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Then I contacted the American Embassy in London, whom I had a meeting with them, telling them, don't misunderstand my move. I know where I am going. I know I might be traveling between different and difficult groups and areas. So here I am telling you before I go. I don't want you to make a story about me when I come back. This is the same thing happened with us when I went to 2005 to Garawi. When I came back, I briefed those people to tell them, here I am, with clear hands, nothing is hidden, and this is what I've been doing. In a conflict zone, there's actually some etiquette of work, ethics, when we go there, because we don't want to be seen.
Misunderstood by the people involved in the conflict,
especially by security. Security are actually focused on certain objectives, and you as a Muslim, young Muslim activist, would be one of those objectives.
In the case of these young men, their families didn't know, so you can understand why.
Yeah, this was a wrong on the young men not to coordinate the work with actually a humanitarian organization and others. But let us talk about the Somali connection for the Somali solution, because this is my cup of tea. You're giving me a lot of cup of coffee here, but I want the cup of tea. The cup of tea for Somalia is a solution which is made in Somalia, not a solution which is imported to Somalia. That's why our duty now as a humanitarian organization and as governments and the international institution is to build the local civil society movement in Somalia. From Mogadishu to Garawi to Kismayu to Hargeisa. This is what we have done with Muslim Charities Forum and Somali Relief and Development Forum. Last month, we managed to bring 44 local organizations to create something called SHOC, Somali Humanitarian Operational Consortium, to try to discuss their internal problems. Somalia is for Somali. We need to help them, but we not to create the solution for them. If we really want to find an end for the problem in Somalia, it has to be a Somali solution from inside.
Well, I think on that note, we can all agree that the solution to Somalia lies within the Somalis. But we also have touched upon the dilemmas involved with people trying to help from this country in a way which is fully in line with our faith, the demands of our religion, to be there for other people, whilst at the same time not bringing any disrepute to the community as a whole. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to our phone guest as well. Do join us same time next week. And don't forget, we're on YouTube. You can also tweet us. Join us same time next Monday.